Hi, everyone. Thanks so much for joining us today. We'll get started in just a minute as folks continue to join. Welcome. All right, I see the number rising. So I think we can get started here. Welcome everyone to our first webinar of 2026. Whether you're brand new to Hierology or you're re-enrolling from last year, we're so excited you're here. Today we'll be diving into how to attract more right fit candidates, smarter sourcing, career sites that convert, QR flyers, referrals, and more. We'll keep it really tactical so you can take action this week. But before I hand it over to Andrew, just want to cover a few housekeeping items. First, this webinar is being recorded and we'll be sharing the recording along with the full presentation straight to your inbox. Secondly, we will have some time for Q&A at the end. I know we have a lot of pre-submitted questions, so we will get through those. But if you have any additional questions you'd like the team to answer, please make sure to use the Q&A feature at the bottom of your Zoom screen, and we'll do our best to respond to them individually or answer them live at the end. And with that, I'll hand it over to you, Andrew.
Thank you very much, Tara. So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Andrew. I have been with Hierology for about 6 years. I spent the majority of that time working with auto dealers as a customer success manager before I took over building out our Ford program and our Ford CS team in late 2024. So before we get started, I just want to say thank you to everyone for joining today. If you are a new to Hierology dealer, welcome. We're excited to have you. If you're returning from 2025, welcome back. We're really excited to have you. We're looking at a lot of really exciting stuff this year. I think everybody's going to get a lot out of it. So first and foremost, just thanks for being here. So, agenda for today, we're really going to just talk about how to attract and source more qualified candidates. When it comes to building an effective recruitment strategy, it's super important not to silo yourself into one channel or another. For example, many may rely exclusively on job boards, and while having a good job board strategy is super important, it's only one source of applicants. So today we're going to cover how to strengthen your overall sourcing strategy to reach the right candidates faster. We'll teach you how to use QR codes, which are new to the program this year, to turn your physical space into a recruiting channel. We'll go over how to optimize your career site to convert visitors into applicants and how to activate referrals to bring more right fit talent through the door. And then again, at the end, we'll make sure to answer the questions you submitted ahead of time, as well as anything that comes up live during the session today. So, before we dig into some of these specific strategies, I think it's important to give you all a frame of reference in terms of what's going on in the economy in general and how that's impacting what we're seeing in automotive hiring. So, there's actually some really fascinating macroeconomic trends taking shape right now, which we're not going to spend time on today, but they're having a major impact on what the job market looks like. The short version of this is it's never been a worse time to be a recent college graduate or a mid-level white-collar worker. We're seeing a lot of people from those two groups taking a little bit of a pause. They're addressing their career plans. They're making an intentional shift towards industries like automotive that have a more secure employment outlook. So you've probably seen some of these headlines, right? Amazon, UPS, other major employers are announcing significant layoffs. I think Amazon's going to lay off somewhere close to 30 to 35,000 people, which is about 10% of their white collar workforce. A lot of this is tied to shifts in automation, AI. Companies are adopting new technologies, they're streamlining operations, and that's translating to cuts. So, what this means for the job market is that there are more applicants, more candidates than ever who are actively looking for opportunities. So, for employers, this creates both a challenge and an opportunity. You need a way to quickly surface and hire top talent before someone else does, but you also need mechanisms in place to help you sift through all of the applicants that are going to be coming through. And with more talent than ever flowing into the industry, this is a great problem to have, but you need the right tools to help you. So we're going to talk about that. But before we do, I think it's important also to look at a couple interesting data points that we found in our recent applicant study. What we found is that 49% of automotive applicants are transitioning from another industry. So coming from potentially some of those white collar jobs, some of those other industries that are laying off a lot of people, with all of those layoffs and the rise of AI, people aren't hesitant like they were before to explore new opportunities. They're ready to bring fresh perspectives. They're ready to bring their skill set to a new field. And sometimes the people who come from outside the industry are actually the most trainable. They bring a really interesting perspective to what many of you have been doing for so long. And they really have an eagerness that you might not see in kind of the tried and true automotive employees who kind of just, they know what they're doing. They've done it for a long time, but I think it's really easy for them to kind of get stuck in the, well, that's just the way we always did it approach. So don't be afraid to look beyond that traditional applicant pool of experienced automotive candidates and take a shot on someone who has that desire, that will, that aptitude, and just needs some training. The other thing that we're seeing right now is that 38% of the candidates that we surveyed are applying to over 30 jobs in just 6 months. So that's nearly double what it was last year. Last year, I think that number was 16. Now it's 30. So what that shows us is that job seekers are casting a wider net than they ever have. It makes it even more important that your job postings stand out. It's super important to craft a compelling, differentiated job posting to attract top talent. That means broadcasting your employer brand. What's your culture like? What makes you different? What do you offer that maybe goes above and beyond your standard, medical, dental, vision package? And not only what are you offering, but how are you advertising that? It should be front and center in all of your job postings. Like, think about it from an applicant's perspective. They're scrolling through listings and page after page and page of jobs on a job board. And from their perspective, the first question on their mind is, what's in it for me? So if we're not showcasing what's in it for them, you're going to have a hard time finding that top tier quality candidate. So that's just a little bit of, background on where we're at today in the economy and just the trends in the applicant market in general. So I'm going to shift gears a little bit now, and we're going to dig into some of the specific strategies that I talked about earlier, starting with building a smarter sourcing mix. So the foundation of attracting more right fit candidates is building that smarter sourcing mix. Not every role needs the same level of fuel. So the key here is to know when that baseline organic visibility is enough and when you might need to accelerate. So number one, organic distribution. That's something that's automatically included with every job post at Hierology. It goes out to our network of 10 or so different job boards, all the big ones, Indeed, ZipRecruiter, Glassdoor, LinkedIn. That organic feed is going to give you consistent visibility. This strategy works really well when applicant flow is already pretty healthy. Maybe you're in a market or the job that you're specifically recruiting for typically gets a lot of applicants. You don't need to really go outside that organic feed to get the traffic that you're looking for. On the flip side of that is that accelerated sponsorship. So what that does is it pushes your job higher in search, expands reach to active and passive candidates, and it drives faster applicant volume when that volume is a little bit low or the quality is low, or simply you have a job that you needed to hire for yesterday and it just can't wait. So thinking about how to strategize about what that mix should look like, it's not a blanket approach. Not every role should have that same level of exposure. You don't sponsor everything. We want you to sponsor intentionally. So one thing that you can think about this week is, what roles do I have open right now? What are my most pressing needs? Where do I maybe find that applicant volume is lagging and potentially others are filling just fine? We want to make sure that we're spending money wisely on sponsorships and not just blasting it out there in the hope that a large volume of applicant traffic is going to convert to that quality candidate that you actually want to hire. And so we're going to talk a little bit about which roles need that extra push and how to measure what's driving that quality. But first, there are steps that we can take when a job isn't really converting to that high applicant volume that you're looking for, but you're not quite ready to throw sponsorship money at it quite yet. So, one thing that you can do is beef up that job description. So, if visibility isn't the issue, let's look at the job description itself. The right candidates aren't going to apply if the role isn't clear, searchable, and compelling. I talked about that a bit earlier about showcasing your culture, putting that front and center in your job descriptions. What's your culture like? Do you have a tool reimbursement program for your techs? Do you have an air-conditioned shop? Are uniforms provided? Maybe you got a monthly catered lunch or special holidays or birthdays off, things like that. All of that stuff is compelling to a candidate. So you can work with your hierology CSM to kind of outline, how can we make our job descriptions a little bit more interesting? How can we showcase our employer brand? But one thing that you may not know is that within hierology, we've got an AI tool called Beaker AI. And what that allows you to do is to instantly generate high quality, automotive specific job descriptions. Each of these jobs is built to perform well in search. It's written in very clear, candidate friendly language. And what that's going to do for you is going to give you a really good place to start. It's going to fill in all of those gaps that you might not know you even needed to fill. And you're not going to spend 30 minutes staring at a blank screen while you're trying to figure out how to describe a service advisor role. So the result here being more qualified applicants, less time spent writing, and faster path to filling your open roles. And again, I won't hesitate to plug it. Talk to your hierology CSM. That is exactly what they're here for. Part of that strategizing on helping you get better at hiring, helping you hire the right candidate, is working with you on those job descriptions. They have been doing this for the last 18 months. They do it really well. So aside from using some of the tools that are built into the system, I would highly, highly encourage you to leverage that team because they are your best asset when it comes to the program. So we're talking about, do we sponsor? Do we do organic posts? If we're doing organic, is it visibility? How do we write a good job description? So we're doing all of these things. But what we really need to do at that point is say, what's working? What's not? So one of the things that we encourage you to do is spend some time in the Insights tab in your Hierology account, where you can actually track sourcing performance. The sourcing tab within Insights is helping you understand what's actually driving hiring outcomes. It's not just clicks, it's not just applications, it's actual hires. So the platform is providing you source to hire visibility, which helps you confidently evaluate when to invest in sponsorship, when organic reach is sufficient, what job board is performing well, what's maybe lagging behind. And we can actually analyze this performance not just at the location level, but the role level as well. You can see which job types are performing well, which ones aren't, where to maybe increase your sponsorship investment or shift budget from one job to another to make sure you're maximizing the impact that your spend is having. Like, for example, maybe you've got one job where Indeed is just absolutely crushing it on applicant volume, and another one where LinkedIn is actually performing better. So that's going to tell you where exactly to shift your budget based on the role, based on the location, based on the job type. Um, and again, you're also going to have that ongoing guidance from your customer success manager. They're here to help you review those trends, help you understand what you're seeing in insights, refine your strategy, with the goal of just kind of a continuous optimization as your needs evolve and as you're tracking your performance to really hone in on exactly what's working and make sure that you're maximizing that. So when it comes to deciding where to invest, it's learning how to balance that organic and sponsored reach, enhance your job descriptions. Um, where do you sponsor? When do you keep it organic? So there are a few kind of key, um, I guess I would consider them just basic tenets of a sponsorship strategy. And again, it's not a blanket approach. It's not a one size fits all. So I would prioritize sponsorship when the role is really historically hard to fill, applicant volume or quality is low. Maybe you're in a really highly competitive market. There are a lot of similar open roles at other dealers in the area. Sponsorship can help you stand out. It could potentially just be the fact that open positions are impacting revenue. Service tech, sales consultants, leadership roles. You need those roles to operate the business effectively. And if your revenue is hurting, if your operations are hurting, those are those high impact roles where it might make sense to spend a little bit of money on a sponsorship. because you need to accelerate the time to hire for those specific jobs. And when to keep it organic when applicant flow is already really strong. If the role typically fills quickly without extra help, or you're sifting through page after page of applicants and you're finding your ideal hire within the first 5 to 10, and you've got 90 more to go through, sponsorship probably isn't the move. One area where I think it's important to note sponsorship versus organic. If you're in a rural area, if you've got a really small applicant pool, you can sponsor, but I always caution folks to be careful with that approach because if it's a limited applicant pool, sponsorship is increasing visibility. And when there's a limited number of quality applicants potentially seeing the job in the first place, visibility tends not to be the issue. Um, so I would encourage you to work with our team to see if there are other ways that you can strategize on filling those roles versus sponsoring. And then the other time to kind of stick with organic is when you're not in a rush. We always encourage always on hiring. Basically, you can never predict when you're going to have unexpected turnover, when somebody's going to decide, I'm going to move, or I'm going to prioritize my family, or maybe I'm going to retire. It's always important to have kind of a warm pipeline of applicants, and that's a nice place to use organic because you can be slowly, continuously building that applicant pool that you can then leverage in the future when you do have that unexpected turnover. You've already got a pool of applicants ready to go. You can reach out to them proactively and say, hey, thanks for applying. We don't have a position open right now, but we'd love to hang on to your information. That's a great place to just let those organic posts run, collect that candidate pool that you can then leverage in the future. So, key takeaways here: align your spend with your hardest to fill roles. Don't sponsor everything. If your performance dips, refresh the job description, use the Beaker AI, do that before you throw more money at it, and then use insights, leverage your CSM. The goal is to continually optimize this over time. It's not a set it and forget it. So, if there was anything I would say that's most important to take away here, it's have that approach of I'm always monitoring this. I'm always looking at it. I want to know what's going on. I want to optimize it. So, talked a lot about sponsorships, organic. That's all job boards, right? So, what are some other strategies that you can use? One, turn existing traffic into applicants. Um, this is something that a lot of stores completely overlook. Um, People come in for service appointments. They're waiting in your lobby. They're picking up parts. Maybe they're browsing the showroom. Some of them might be passively interested in a career change. Maybe they know someone who's looking, but they don't know that you're hiring because it's not visible. So that's the problem that we're solving with QR code flyers. This is new to the program this year. Some of you might have participated in a pilot of it last year, but it's something that's included for every dealer in the program this year. The ability to create custom QR code flyers. This extends your hiring visibility beyond job boards. You're not just competing online. It converts walk-ins and community traffic into real candidates. And the really cool part about this is that you can then track it all. It's going to track through your Hirology insights just like any other source. So take advantage of this. It's not a replacement for a job board, but it is an untapped pool of applicants that a lot of dealers are missing out on. And it's something that we're giving to you guys as part of the program this year that we're really, really excited about. So to take advantage of that, it's really simple. So just a couple minutes in Hirology, you can set up these flyers. First step, generate a QR code. You can do that from a job. You can do that from your career site. Let's say you advertise really specifically for service techs. You can make that QR code go straight to that job posting. Once you've got a QR code, we have pre-built templates that will help you create an eye-catching flyer, customize it with your branding, drop in your logo, add any kind of content that you might want to call out, drop in that QR code, and you're done. And then just print it, post it in high visibility spots. Service lanes and waiting areas are the obvious ones, but we're also seeing dealers have success with this at their showroom entrance, parts counter, working with local colleges, trade schools, having it up on bulletin boards there. Take it to job fairs, community events, basically anywhere where people are standing around for a minute or two. There's an opportunity to be capturing that traffic through a QR code. So really, again, it's there for you. It's easy to use. and it's all really, really highly trackable so that you know how that in-store promotion is contributing to applicants and hires, the same way that you know how your job board spend is converting to applicants and hires. Key takeaways here, capture interest anytime there's a moment of awareness, simple activation with our QR codes, and then it's just expanding that job visibility beyond your typical job boards. So on the topic of QR codes, one of the ways that people are leveraging those is linking them to their career sites. So that is, I think, the bread and butter of what we do here at Hierology is help you build that brand, help you find the best candidates, because the best candidates are the ones that are going to your career site. We've found in our research that 1 in 2 applicants is going to the career site before they even choose to apply. And applicants that come from career sites convert to hire almost 7 times more frequently than those that apply from a typical job board. So your career site matters. It's not just competing locally. Candidates aren't just looking at your posting. They're comparing you to the Ford dealer across town or the Toyota dealer across the street. Your brand is what's driving whether they apply to your job or keep scrolling. They also want mobile optimization. Most candidates, many candidates, I won't say most, are applying on the go. They might be on their lunch break. They might be at home scrolling in the evening on their phone. If your career site is slow, if it's difficult to navigate, if it's a fill in these dozen or more cells on a PDF fillable on your website, it's not optimized for mobile, and you're going to risk losing them before they even engage with you. So I think it's important to think of your career site the same way that you think about your physical location. One of the things that we like to say here at Hierology is that your jobs are your product, your candidates are your buyer. Think about this the same way that you advertise cars to your potential buyers. You're advertising yourselves, your jobs to candidates. Your career site is that employment storefront. If it's outdated, if it's impersonal, if it's a lot of stock images, if it's hard to use, it's going to negatively impact conversion. So the key question here is, does your career site create a compelling first impression, or does it feel generic? Um, we're comparing ourselves to every competitor in the market, and applicants are more discerning than ever. They want to work somewhere that they feel connected to. Your career site is the best way to advertise what makes you unique and why they should come work for you and not the dealer down the street. So how do we turn our career sites into high-performing sites? Uh, First, make it mobile, make it frictionless. If someone has to fill out 20 fields or upload 3 documents just to express their interest, you've lost them. The stores that are performing the best are the ones that keep their application process under 3 minutes on mobile. Second, show real culture. I see so many career sites that are just stock images and logos, but your career site is yours to own. This is your opportunity to advertise what makes you a great place to work. If you have a short video, if you've got employee testimonials, that's a great thing to include in your career site because candidates want to see real people. They want to hear real voices. It builds trust, it builds credibility, it makes it feel like a great place to work. And third, highlight what candidates already have indicated that they care about. Don't bury the stuff that matters. Showcase training and development, career path, benefits, community involvement. Candidates want to know what it's going to be like to work there. They want to know that there's a path forward for them. It's not just a job. And the good news here is that these are sites that Hierology is building and hosting for every dealer in the program. All you have to do is work with your CSM to customize the content. If you've got photos, quotes, testimonials, any of that, reach out to them. They'll help you build the site. The most customized sites are the ones that work the best. So definitely take advantage of that resource. Last, the most underutilized channel that I see when it comes to recruiting is referrals. Employee referrals are such a great way to build your team. People want to work with people that they like. They want to work with people that they know. Your team already knows what it takes to be successful at your dealership. They work with and alongside top performers. They know the skills that matter. They often have people in their networks who would be really strong fits. The challenge isn't necessarily awareness, it's consistency in asking for and capturing those referrals. Referrals work best when they're treated not as a not as a one-time campaign, but as a continuous hiring channel. Referral candidates typically show stronger performance, retention is better, and they tend to convert to hire about 30% more frequently than a typical job board applicant. So they really are your best pool of applicants. So to make a referral program effective, focus on three areas. One, keep it simple. The process to submit a referral should take less than a minute. If I can't submit name, email, phone number, and the role that I'm referring them for, and the hiring manager takes it from there, I'm probably not going to take the time. Second, make incentives really clear. Define a rewards program up front, whether it's a bonus, a gift card, free lunch, some other benefit. Um, Advertise that and then make sure you're following through. When someone is hired from a referral, definitely make sure that you're rewarding that to keep the program consistent. And then last, track performance. Um, Hierology tracks referral performance and ROI again through our insights, so you can see how many you're getting, how many are converting to hires, whether referred employees are staying longer. Use insights to monitor volume, conversion, and retention so that you can continue again to optimize that program over time. The goal really to turn referrals into a predictable, high quality hiring source that strengthens your recruiting efficiency and your employee retention. So that's a lot of information. Four key actions that you can take this week. Number one, review your sourcing performance and insights. Which jobs are actually performing well? Which job boards are supporting your hardest to fill roles? If you've been working with us for a bit, book a call with your CSM to walk through it. If you're new, give it a month, collect some data, and then schedule a review with your CSM to see what that data is telling you. Number two, refresh one job using our AI. Pick a role, maybe one that's been underperforming, maybe it's getting views but no applicants, and rewrite the job description so it's clear and optimized. Then republish it. Simple. Three, add a photo or an employee testimonial to your career site. All it takes is one, a real team photo, someone's actual quote about what they love about working there. It builds trust. It makes your site feel genuine and less generic. And it's a really easy kind of layup strategy that you can utilize right away. And last, create a QR code flyer and post it in your store. Again, this is available to every dealer through the Hierology platform. If you're not sure how to use it, contact your CSM. They can walk you through it. It takes less than 10 minutes. Link it to a role, link it to your career site, put it up in the showroom, the waiting area, the break room, wherever, anywhere people are standing around. It's just another easy win that you can do this week. So if you do just those four things, you're going to have a stronger top of the funnel in your recruitment by the end of the week. And again, if you need help with any of it, contact your CSM because that is exactly what they're there for. So with that, let's talk questions. I know
Yeah.
we're running a little short on time though, Tara. I get a little carried away sometimes talking about this stuff.
Yeah, no worries. Thank you so much, Andrew. I know that was a lot of helpful insight, but of course, if anyone has questions that maybe you didn't get answered throughout this, please feel free to submit them. Thank you to all of those that submitted before as you were registering. We've got a few that I'll start off with here, and then, like I said, feel free to put any in the chat. The first one I'll cover here is this is more of a statement, but definitely need techs like everyone else, but cannot find qualified ones.
Man, I feel like I've heard that one before. Um, yeah, you're not alone. I think it's something that everybody's struggling with. So, some of the strategies that we talked about already are going to impact that, right? So it's using referrals, using your QR codes. People who are like kind of passively and maybe actively looking will find your jobs and apply that way. But while we can't guarantee quality, one thing that I would encourage you to do is take advantage of some of the screening tools in the system. Um, we have pre-screened surveys that are pre-built in the system. We worked on those with Ford. They're entirely customizable. Have those on every single job. It's not going to necessarily translate to a quality applicant coming in, but it's going to allow you to really quickly identify who's qualified and who's not so that you can prioritize your time. The other thing that I would encourage you to do is complete the hiring steps in Hierology. So there's a specific workflow that you get an applicant in, you review them, you advance them. We've got an interview scheduler. We've got various dispositions that you can use in the system. And through our partnership with Indeed, we have what's called Disposition Sync. Essentially, our Indeed partnership allows their feed to learn from your activity in hierology. So the more you advance, hire, decline candidates in our system, the more likely your job is going to be shown to the quality and caliber of candidate that you're actually looking for when it comes to job board visibility, specifically with Indeed. So those are a couple things that you can take advantage of.
Wonderful. The next question that was submitted, how are these candidates being vetted? I've received candidates that only had experience as an ice cream machine tech. How did that even happen?
Yeah, no, I mean that's a great question. It kind of goes back to the last one a little bit. When we have a really broad strategy like you get with hierology and your jobs are being distributed all over the internet, we don't really have a way to control who finds and applies to those jobs. So just right off the top, a common misconception is that hierology is finding, screening, and delivering applicants in the system. Whereas it's actually anybody who finds your job online and applies is going to be filtered into hierology. So you're probably going to continue to see people who might not have quite the right experience. And that's again where utilizing some of those pre-screening questions can come in handy. You can even set up knockout questions. So, for example, if I'm looking for an experienced technician, maybe I have a knockout statement that says, I have 3 or more years of experience as an automotive service technician. And if they answer no to that question, it's going to automatically score them 0. So again, we're not preventing people from applying or vetting them ahead of time, but we're giving you the tools to identify who's a good fit early on so that you're not wasting time with people who aren't.
Perfect. Um, I think this kind of falls in the same realm, but is there a way to screen so I can only see certain applicants?
Um, in terms of seeing certain, I want to make sure I understand the question, and maybe this isn't a live one, but um, I think that probably goes back to some of what we just talked about using the pre-screening. Um, we can't legally prevent you from seeing applicants that apply, but we can again give you tools to identify who's a good fit and who's not, so that you can actually prioritize your list of applicants and work through them in an order that makes sense.
Perfect. Another one that was pre-submitted. What non-monetary factors have the greatest impact on retaining technicians long term?
That is a great question. I know one of the major focus points this year for Ford and for our program is retention, particularly with technicians. I was actually just down in Dallas last week at a training for the technical placement team. And one of the things that we talked a lot about is career pathing and growth. I think one of the things that especially entry-level technicians or kids just kind of coming out of their trade schools are looking for is that long-term fit. They don't want just any other job. So I think advertising your training programs is a great way to impact that. Um, have ongoing conversations with them. When it comes to things that aren't monetary, I think the more you know about what motivates them, the better. Have those one-on-one conversations, poll your employees regularly, find out from them what do they love about working here, what do they want to see that's different, and actually take action from that. That can have such a major impact. I mean, people just want to work somewhere where they feel heard and supported. And so those are two things that you can really easily do is just ask the question and take action based on what you hear. And then again, training programs, ongoing development. Those are two things that I hear constantly is people want to know that I have a future here, right? So it's not like I'm coming in and I have no idea what the path forward looks like. Advertise career paths, advertise training and development, and then stick to it. I think those are two strategies that can really make a huge impact on retention. And then lastly, have a really good onboarding process. You would be amazed at how many people end up leaving a job within 90 days specifically because their onboarding was terrible. Maybe they spent 2 whole days just looking at training videos or filling out paperwork. Have a mentor program when people come on board. Make their onboarding process really seamless so that they can have all of their paperwork done right away, hit the ground running on their first day, and actually start learning the job and getting into the actual work. You would be amazed at the impact that those first few days on the job has on that long-term retention. So to recap, um, advertise training and development, poll your employees consistently and take action based on what you hear, and have a really good, clean, robust onboarding process that makes people feel at home right away.
Okay, perfect. Another one that came in live. I have noticed a tremendous difference in applicants if I post the same ad directly through Indeed. I've been using Hireology for several years outside of the Ford program.
Yeah, if this was the first time I'd heard about that, I would be surprised. No, it's a trend that we have definitely noticed. So a couple things to think about here. One being volume isn't necessarily everything, right? Our goal at Hierology is to help you find the right candidate for the job. And sometimes what that means is um, lower just straight volume of applicants. What we're learning from Indeed more and more recently, they've kind of rebuilt the way that they advertise their jobs to applicants, and they are prioritizing sending applicants basically to jobs that are posted directly through them and encouraging sponsorship. The number of times I've heard recently that Indeed is reaching out to Hireology users and say, "Hey, you should do this instead." Um, like I said earlier, a job board strategy is super important, and we do see sometimes that jobs that are posted directly on Indeed have a higher volume of applicants. But when we look at the numbers and the conversion rates of those applicants to hires, it is so significantly lower than what we see in some of these other channels and some of the hierology supported channels. That just goes back to the point that it is so important to have a really diverse recruitment strategy. Have a lot of different channels, turn over a lot of rocks, and then have a system in place to manage all of that. I hope that answered the question. I know it was not a super straight answer because there's some truth to the origin of the question, but hopefully that gives us a little bit of direction.
Yeah. I think we've got one more pre-submitted question, and then I think Tiffany from our team has kind of been on top of other ones that have come in the chat. So hopefully we can close it out with this. But you can make a role a constant hire role, but after about a week or two, you stop getting applicants until you close and reopen. Why is that?
Yeah, I mean, a couple things could be contributing to that. Number one is that candidate engagement piece. So one of the things that we know to be true with our job board partners is the more consistent you are about reviewing and reaching out to applicants, the more likely you are to get page one, page two visibility on the job boards. So when you get applicants that come in for like this constant hire role, I think there's a tendency a lot of the time to collect a lot of applicants and then maybe get back to them every once in a while when you have enough that you want to go through. But engaging with them quickly and often is one way that you can turn your kind of job board visibility into. I'm not going to say that. Sorry, I'm thinking out loud here. The more you do in the system, the more engaged you are with your applicants, the higher you're going to show up in search results. You may have seen, and I'm going to use Indeed as an example. Um, you'll get badges on your jobs like responsive employer or often responds within 1 day. Um, that's something that is directly related to the actions that you're taking in the Hierology platform. So again, one way to keep that visibility high is to maintain that engagement. And if it's not a job that you're hiring for today, that's okay. We've got automations that you can set up to communicate with those applicants without actually having to go through one by one and send a message, thanking them for the application. Maybe a couple days go by. Hey, just wanted to let you know we did receive your application. We're in the process of reviewing. Someone will be in touch if you meet the qualifications we're looking for. All really automated ways that you can stay engaged. So that's number one. Number two, though, closing and reopening a job, and I think I saw it come through the chat, there's a little bit of risk here. So, as I mentioned just a minute ago, Indeed has recently changed some of their policies around what they consider spam posting. And one of the ways that folks can get flagged is if you turn off a job and then reopen it right away, Indeed can view that as like gaming the system, and they'll flag that job as a sponsored only job. So you'll have to go to Indeed, sponsor that job to even get it back up there. What we typically suggest, and again, this is something that your CSMs can help with, is have maybe a couple of different versions of a job. Think about it like an A/B test kind of. We'll have one running, and after a couple weeks, if that applicant volume slows down, we can close that one and open the other one that is appreciably different. So it's not going to be flagged as a spam post or a duplicate. Let that one run and kind of cycle that way. It helps to kind of keep that visibility up while also not running afoul of Indeed's policies. Does that, I think, hopefully answer the question?
Yeah, I think that sounds all the right things. You said all the right things. Well, thank you so much, Andrew. I'll pass it back to you. I think we have a closing slide here.
Yes, we do.
Perfect.
Last slide here. Um, Surprise, surprise, it's a QR code. Um, so if you liked what you heard today, or if you've liked what you've gotten from Hierology, scan that code, leave us a review. We read all of the reviews. We take them into account in everything that we do. Customer feedback is one of the most important things to us here. So please scan the code, leave a review. And again, last plug, talk to your Hierology CSM. They are here to help. They are as invested in your success as you are. I promise you, they are ready to talk, they're ready to meet, and they're excited about it. So, on that note, I think that is all for today.
Yes, thank you, everyone. We hope you have a great rest of your day. Thanks for joining us. Bye.